And it was sad because literally you say, I'll go to war with these people. I literally went to war with these people, and so you're looking at him like, man, this is my brother in arms as long as we're in this situation, but they're okay with me, but they don't see the bigger picture. And so,
I think that's the hardest part of us growing and learning. It's like, it's okay that you're okay with me, but if you're not okay with my people, I still can't rock with you.
What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg. Join my co-host, Razi and Buff. Fellas, tell them what's on your mind.
I'm annoyed. I'm so annoyed because people just won't let people enjoy things. I'm so tired of folks posting, oh, why are we doing the busted challenge? I'm so tired of the busted challenge. I'm so tired of this challenge. Or, oh, here comes a new challenge. Or, why y'all want to watch anime or whatever it is. It's like, it's always somebody complaining about what other people enjoy. Let people enjoy what they want to enjoy. And so I'm really annoyed by it. I got a couple Facebook friends that I think we all follow, and that's their MO. It's just something new that people enjoy. Let me on it. And I'm like, why? Like calm down and let people enjoy their life, man.
But what if they enjoy on stuff? Razi, you being a hypocrite.
I mean,
let them be great, bro. If they want to hate, let them hate.
Just let them hate. I don't know, man. It's just annoying. And
I get annoyed with a lot of the challenges too. But you know me, I'm special anyway.
So who's complaining about the busted challenge? Because
no,
straight men should be loving it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm loving it.
Whose slogan was that? I'm loving it. Was that old McDonald's or something like that? Was that the old McDonald's?
Yeah.
I get what you're saying too, because I get annoyed at stuff, but I'll keep the opinion to myself. Like, if people having fun with it, like, what's the purpose of like coming in and saying, like, I think sometimes a lot of these memes and stuff get overdone and overplayed, but just keep it to yourself, man. Although I did voice, what did I say? Oh, it's one meme with the black dude and the black chick.
Oh,
and I did say something on that. I'm like, man, y'all are wearing that joint out.
I mean, there's a difference of commentary like that. Like, hey, y'all kind of overdoing it or whatever. Mm-hmm. That is a little different than just saying, like, really on people for just enjoying it.
Making
it's one thing to say,
and stuff. The man wants you to do the busted challenge so you can degrade yourself. That's why we can't rise as a people, and you want me to treat you like a queen, but you won't hear busting it for everybody.
Yeah, I can.
Hey,
it's hard to turn a busted challenge chick into a queen, bro.
That kind of falls in line with what I want to talk about. So I watched One Night in Miami last week on Amazon Prime. I recommend everybody check it out. But I'm a huge, huge Malcolm X fan. But watching that movie, I told Talbot, I was like, yo, as much as I love Malcolm X, I think it would have been hard to be his friend. Like, he always in your ass, like, dog, can I just chill? Like, you always coming at me, bro.
Yeah, I like my white women report. but he was coming at Sam Cooke the whole time, though.
Man, dog, he wouldn't let up.
But sometimes you need that, though, man. I think it's he picked and chose who he was gonna do that with. Like, and so he chose his battles, and like the movie shows him seeing Sam being able to lead people and get people on board, and he was just kind of squandering that ability. So
yeah, I mean,
I love the movie.
I get it, because sometimes I'm that person. I'm that, like, we could do better. person. Like, you can do better. But usually, and I kind of go with what you were saying, Razi, I usually voice my opinion to people I care enough about, or I think can meet those standards. Like, I'm not just going to just blatantly just say we all need to do this because I just feel like everybody can't live up to that standard. But definitely a great movie, Buff. Speaking of Malcolm X, every time I watched him or he spoke, I'm like, I don't know if he's Barack or Malcolm X right now, because I feel like that dude had so many Barack mannerisms, and I feel like he studied Barack to become Malcolm X. And I don't know if that was just me. I'm like, this nigga is Barack. Speaking of Barack, what about Michelle? She was crushing it.
Yeah, she was.
She's my first lady, all-time first lady, bro. That was just a beautiful thing to watch, man. How everybody
inauguration in general was beautiful, man. Like, the inauguration committee did a great job. I mean, it was diverse. You had diversity of thought, diversity of, like, people, and it was very inclusive. Garth Brooks coming and singing, and so you got your country there and everything for your white America or whatever. You had J-Lo come. They could have kept J-Lo, but for the Latino community, I mean, there's better Latino singers. Is really I'm not saying they could have not had a kind of Latino representation.
You know what I laughed at? You know what the funniest part of J-Lo's whole performance was?
Oh, when she's like bust out in Spanish?
I'm like, there are some rednecks pissed. She over there talking about, she's like, she over there Viva La Raza or whatever she said, and they over like, this is America.
We speak English.
You speak American here. English is not a thing. It's American. You speak American? Yes. So I was watching a show called Warrior. I don't know if I talked about it last week, but in there they kind of do that. They, instead of calling it English, they call it American. And they're like, oh, you have to speak American. Yeah, that's
another good show if you guys want something with some action, kung fu in there. It's awesome.
Speaking of, I'm gonna come clean. I owe you an apology, Razi.
You watched that slime thing, huh?
Of course not. No.
Oh, okay.
No. Do you remember when Sonic came out and he got so excited about Sonic and we're like, bro, it's Sonic.
Yeah.
Sonic's a damn good movie, bro.
It is good, yeah.
It was a damn good movie. Jim Carrey got his shit off. It was a really good movie. I'm excited about, the sequel. I think it's gonna be hilarious. Dr. Robotnik. I mean, they had enough little Easter eggs and gems to honor the game, and you're like, this is dope, and it was funny, pure comedy. And I started watching Lupin. I started watching Lupin last night, and I like Lupin. I like it, so I'm only on episode 2, but I think I'm gonna really like the series. So, I'm not gonna prejudge your picks as much as I usually do.
Yeah, because I don't know if y'all saw the trailer to Kong versus Godzilla just dropped, and if you're into anything with like Godzilla or anything like that's going to be really good.
Well, that's what's up. I'm excited about it. You guys got anything else you want to jump into it?
Let's get it.
Let's jump.
Hey, Sophie, you gonna talk? You just gonna wave at me, baby? Hello.
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 You sound like your godbrother TJ, because that's his favorite word now. He says hello 1,000 times a day. How was your week so far?
Good.
Speaking of good, do you have a good joke for us? Because Daddy's jokes haven't. You know what? I'm not even gonna say that. Daddy's last joke, he had a lot of people that liked it. Go figure. So what do you have for us?
I stepped on a Fruit Loop this morning. Daddy chose this one.
You stepped on a what?
A Fruit Loop this morning.
She said Razi chose that one.
Yeah, that was bad. She threw you under the bus, bro.
I like how she knows how to read the room.
Just like, yeah. Dion Cole, like, no, that didn't work. All right. Give us another one, Sophie. Give us a good one. Give us a good one. I know you got one.
I'm not all the way done with it, though.
Oh, you're not. So you got to tell us.
Oh, that's my bad, too.
My bad. Continue.
Does that make me a serial killer? Because I said out a serial. Daddy chose this.
You know what, Sophie? You stuck with a joke. Yes, it does make you a serial killer, first of all. So I'm calling the police and letting them know. Yep. Yep. My bad, Sophie. That was a good joke. I like that one.
I didn't actually step on it. It was just a joke.
Oh, you admitted it. It's already on air. You're gonna have thousands of people knowing that you're a serial killer.
I'm not actually a serial killer.
No serial killer ever says they're a serial killer.
Now she trying to backpedal.
Not yet.
Even if I said I was one, I would still be one. If I said I wasn't one, I would still be one. Choose one.
Yep. So yeah, you kind of stuck.
All right, big girl.
All right, Sophie. Well, I'll see you later, baby.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Woo!
All right, my question is a fairly, I'm not going to say a simple one, but it's just actually something that crossed my mind, and I saw this video and I wanted to share with you guys. It's from a podcast called with Devale and Khadeen. Their husband and wife team, they have a podcast together, and this is from their October episode. And it's basically talking about our women pressuring men into monogamy. So we're going to play a little clip for you. Let us know what you think.
A lot of women do complain, oh, my husband's always on me. Why is he always on me? Mm-hmm. If sex is going to be a chore for you that you don't really want to do, why do women constantly push monogamy on men? If you know that you don't want to have to deal with him all the time just wanting you, why do you push monogamy on men?
Well, who's to say I pushed anything on anybody? Like,
well, we know that you pushed monogamy on me.
I pushed monogamy. I forced you to get married to me?
Time out. I didn't say you forced me to get married, but did you not say to me that you wanted to be engaged and you wanted to be married before you lived with me? You didn't say that?
I want $1 billion. That don't mean I'm going to get it. I can want something, asking, but not...
You right now, you're dodging the question.
Nobody pressed you to do it. Yes, is that something I wanted? Yes, it was. But
you didn't press me. Are you gonna lie now to the people because we talking about sex?
Devale,
you're gonna lie now to the people?
Devale, knowing
Khadeen, you didn't want monogamy?
Of course I did.
So then why are you avoiding the question?
That's not avoiding the question. I'm saying, does that mean because I wanted and I requested that you were gonna deliver it? Like nobody pressed you for that.
All right, Buff. So he said a mouthful, and that interaction was hilarious. You watched the whole clip. We just played a portion of the clip for our listeners, but. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think he's incorrect in saying that women pressure men into monogamy, and specifically that she pressured him into monogamy. Women, let's just take their example. She told him what she wanted and what she expected, and it was up to him to agree to it or not. Now, I guess we can do semantics and say, well, that is pressure. But at the end of the day, you're an adult. You are of sound body and mind. You make that decision on whether or not that's something you want to do. Now, on the flip side, he does have a point to an extent that sex is a very important part of marriage. Very important. Now, she's turning him down like, every once in a while, then he doesn't really have a real complaint. But if almost every time he's trying to have sex and it's always some excuse, she's tired, she got a headache, not right now, I'm not in the mood, then that is an issue. And that is an issue that she needs to work on because that's important to her spouse. And I get what she's saying that, hey, I didn't know that having kids and all this stuff, that's fine, but you have to at least try to work on it. But just the whole beginning of his question saying that, why did you pressure me? He's saying, why did you pressure me into monogamy if you're not going to hold up your end to help me keep said monogamy behavior? I don't know if I totally agree with that. I'll wait on some of y'all input on it and see if my mind changes on it. But I think I kind of have some pushback on him saying he was pressured, because I don't think it was pressured. Like, if you have to know, or you have to like look down the road and say, hey, there may be times she doesn't want it as much as I do, and see if that's what you're really ready to do. But they both need to, I don't know, work on some things. Also, why in the hell would you do a podcast with your wife? But that's a whole different topic.
Ratings. Most times, what is it? Most times when like married couples have shows together and stuff, they end up divorced.
Yeah,
like almost always. So
remember Martin ain't like when Gina came on that joint.
well, that sounds like the beginning of a divorce conversation to me, anyway. But Byron, before you answer, Razi, so do this for me. Take out the, like we were saying, semantics, where take out the force or pressured.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on if women want this monogamy, but they are not, and he's willing to be monogamous, but they're still not, and within reason, they feel like, because the word he chose to use was chore. Having sex with me is like a chore, something you don't want to do, something that's just like not.
Yeah, that's terrible.
How, kind of give me that. It's no, you owe me this, but it's like you told me this is what you want. I'm doing it, but you don't want to. You don't want to do the things that make this work.
You made it sound like she's straight starfishing when they have sex. But that goes again to she's got to work on that. I mean, I said on a very, very, very early episode, I don't think monogamy is natural. And I stand by that. It's not natural. And this particular situation is one of the many reasons why I think so. It's not natural, but that's something that they have entered and agreed upon. And she needs to hold up her end of the bargain. Like, if it's not going down like he's saying, then that's a major issue, man. That's a major issue. And even, it sounds like even when he's getting it, she's not even into it. So to me, that's a huge problem to me. So she's got to work on that. And I don't know what the solution is. Like, if she needs more help around the house, because she made it seem like she has so much going on that she rarely has time to even be in the mood. But that's a problem, man.
Agreed. So what do you have, Razi?
I would start with saying, taking a step back from, she kind of forced him or even manipulated him into monogamy, pressured him into it. It comes down to, that's the expectation of society. Monogamy is society's expectation. So, most women, and a lot of times, I mean, we ignore guys who want to be monogamous. There are guys who really want monogamy. Really, truthfully, guys want monogamy from the lady, even if he got a team. So let's be honest. Like, I can be with 3-4 chicks, but don't let you have another dude on the side. Then it's about to go on.
He's right.
All hell's gonna break loose.
He's right.
So
I could be sad.
Exactly. I could be sad and hell with the So, but the thing about it is that's society. And so that expectation is always going to be there. Most women are going to kind of reach towards that. Hey, I want monogamy. Whether they want sex or not, they want you to only be with them and only be looking and checking for them. And so I think that's where guys in general and you got to understand that is the expectation. That's what they're going to be pushing for. And like you said, Byron, it's up to you to say yes or no. Like, if you ain't ready, if you want to keep your team, if you want to do that, then you gotta make that decision whether you want to stay with her and go down that monogamy road that she's expecting, or do you want to cut her off and keep your whole team, or do you want to sneak around and have some side chicks? Like, those are your 3 choices. They're simple choices. You just got to make them and live with them. Stop whining when you make one of the choices and then be like, I ain't get all the other stuff that I want. Nah, player, you made the choice. You went down that route.
So I understand what you're saying. So I'm gonna push back on this. So yes, society, the society pretty much dictates, especially our culture, that once entered in marriage, you're usually monogamous. I get that 100%. And I feel like a lot of men want to be monogamous in that relationship. I feel like they're fine with it. Like you said, like me, I'm 100% like, hey, I'll never cheat on you because I can't have you using that against me because it's over. I can't deal with her being with anybody else. I'm just very open. But I don't think just because that's the expectation is for us to be monogamous. But what about the expectation of you also or her also doing things to make that relationship work and a monogamy work in that relationship? Like if we're talking about biblical or, monogamy being with your wife, the sex bed, the marriage bed, there's a spot for that too. Like if we're going to do this, then let's do it. Don't just say be monogamous and then just say good luck. Cause that's basically what I've seen sometimes. Like, yeah, you can't have no other I'll f you once a month or whatever the case may be when I feel like it. It's a chore. And then I'm not saying they need to have sex every day or whatever the case may be. It's still like you're checking the box, and like Buff said earlier, it's a starfish effect. You're sitting there lazy, and maybe that's his pipe game. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's pipe game weak.
Yeah, he might be trash.
Pipe game might be weak. What I'm saying is what is the onus on somebody else? Like, hey, I'm willing to uphold my end of the bargain, but what are you willing to do? Because I feel like monogamy can work. It's not easy. And and think about it. Like you said, there's so many men that use that argument. Monogamy is not natural. Women know that. Women know men have a hard time with monogamy. People have a hard time with monogamy. So if this is a known fact that guys have a hard time with monogamy, women have a hard time with monogamy, but you're making it even harder because you're saying, once again, good luck with that monogamous. Yeah, he has a choice to make, but if he goes and cheats on her, because she might be giving him so much more, so many other things, but that's big. Like one thing that I feel like makes my relationship successful is knowing that my wife still wants me. It's not a chore. We still, I'm just being open, like we still have a very happy sexual appetite. We've been together for 12 years. And that makes things easier. But when I'm sitting there and it's a chore, that becomes a chore. And I tell people, I told Z, that's holding, when you start rationing out the nanny, we got to have a real conversation because you holding happiness hostage, baby. Like, I likes it. And we can't just keep doing this. So, and I think
a little bit, go ahead.
I was going to say, do we know how long this has been going on with them? Is she using her mouth ever? Like, what's...
But I don't know, but I think what you realize is...
Razi laughing at me, though.
I think they got into specifics about him. I think the original conversation was about in general. So it's like, hey, why do women feel that men should be monogamous, but then they don't want to help make that monogamy work?
I can kind of go down that hole with him though, because I was just really about to talk about, there are a lot of women that try to jump into monogamy. It's like, I think we talked about it a couple of episodes or maybe even last episode. It's like we go on one date and now I'm monogamous with you. No, it's like, no, you don't get to monogamy after one date. Yeah, you don't get to monogamy after we smash. I'm sorry. Like, unless we've had that conversation and it's like, hey, we are monogamous. Until we have that conversation, there should not be an assumption of monogamy just because we smashed or just because we're on our even third, fourth, fifth date. It's like, I always tell everybody, I know that you're the one when I wake up and I ain't got no more. Like, all of a sudden, no more texts come in. I ain't trying to text nobody else. I don't even want to text anybody else. I don't want to go out and meet anybody else. I can see somebody and be attracted to them and be like, oh, let me stay away from them because I don't want to mess up what I got at home. There's a big difference there versus, oh, I see somebody attractive. Let me go shoot my shot and see what I can do. that's when I know you're the one. That's when I know that it's time to be monogamous. And I think what happens is guys and girls, what ends up happening a lot of times is that they jump to monogamy before they're ready, and then they're still out. Oh, let me shoot my shot. I don't know if I still got it or not. I need to know, can I still get it or whatever? And they're not all about that other person. They're really not ready for monogamy. That was fine back in the day when we always talk about grandpa could go have another family on the other side of town and nobody would care or whatever. Marriages could still exist and I have another family, or I'm still out cheating, or I don't even come home for a couple of days and I walk back in the house and everything good. It was fine then. But now at the point where marriages can get divorced, women can initiate divorces, they can have their own checking account so that they can leave. They have their own money. They can get their own jobs. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to force monogamy on anybody, man or male or female. So I just think it's the times that we're in now, you got to slow play it, and you got to slow play this expectation of monogamy.
So so we've had a couple of dates, but now we're married. I'm talking, like, to me, the monogamous stuff.
If you're married, you should be monogamous. I get that. That is an expectation. That shouldn't be anything you're pressuring me to be monogamous. No, nigga, we married.
We should be monogamous, but what should the other partner's expectation be with sex? So we should be monogamous, but if we're only having sex once a month, but I should be monogamous. So because the way I look at it, the divorce rate in the U.S. is 50%. Infidelity is the leading cause of divorce. 43% of when surveyed, 43% of marriages end because of infidelity. I'm not saying all infidelity is linked to not getting enough, because there's sexual addictions. There's just people, like you said, that aren't ready to be monogamous. It's whatever it is. But if we know infidelity is the leading cause of divorce, and I'm not going to say, because I know we're going to have some people like, I was giving it to him all the time, he still wanted more. But is there a certain expectation? Like, the closest thing I can compare it to is, hey, I'm a husband. I'm a provider. I provide for you. I took you out on nice dates and did all this stuff for you. But now that we're married, now I realize that with kids and, bills and mortgage, that I wasn't really ready for all this. And so I feel like I'm tired. I don't feel like paying these bills anymore. I feel like there's too much going on where I shouldn't give you what the expectation was earlier.
And it's probably just deeper than that. Like, when you married to someone and you truly love that person, like we always say, marriage is work. So when you're married to somebody that you truly love, you're willing to work within reason to make that other person happy. So if your spouse is telling you, babe, listen, I know you this, I know you that, but I have needs. I need sex. We're not having enough sex. Or vice versa. Either way, that wife or that husband is going to work on that. They're going to say, you know what? You're right. Let me change my schedule around a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to do whatever it takes to make that work because they love you and they're willing to work at it. And if they're not, then you got bigger problems than just lack of sex. You're with someone that's not willing to work with you to make you happy. And if they're not willing to do that, then there's probably other things they're not willing to do as well.
I agree with you 100% on that, Buff. Like, I think that is one of the things about marriage is give and take, working. Like, I try not to do anything that's going to bring harm to my relationship. If my wife needs it, I'm going to work on it, or at least address it, or try to figure out how to get better at it. Do you think that happens a lot? Do you think people just turn a blind ear and, like she said, well, I got the kids. She started coming up with this list of stuff of trying to rationalize why sex isn't that important. And I feel like I feel like that was a real conversation, even though I don't think he wanted to make it about them originally. Mm-hmm. I think it was, like I said, a general question. I think a lot of women say, hey, I want monogamy, but I'm not ready to give you the stuff that makes it easier for you to be in this monogamous relationship. And it's cheap, because the thing about it is, we know the downfall of not being monogamous. Like, they have the upper hand. It's cheaper to keep her. Mm-hmm. I'm the mother of your kids. It shouldn't be about all this. I'm tired. Like, and you're just supposed to accept these reasons And there's some reasons that are rational, saying, hey, we're not going to do it every night, but accept these reasons of why sex is not happening. She holds all the power.
Yeah.
And if I stop paying bills, or not tit for tat, but I'm like that same rationale for something that she expected from me, now I'm a bum. Like, to me, it's the same thing. It's sex, it's finances, it's, dating, it's, comfort, anything that your expectation is, and that's what you need, and you just the other person chooses to neglect it, then, like you said, we have bigger issues. So I'm done with that. Any final words on that one?
Yeah, make sure shallowness is a part of your reason for getting married. Like, you need to be shallow to an extent. Marry someone that you think is fine as hell, that is attractive, that turns you on. It can't be just, oh, but he speaks to my soul, and you need to look at him, or you need to look at her and say, God, I'll take your ass upstairs and let me blow your back out. Like, you need that.
And it's funny you said that, because I think guys look for that more, because I've talked to a lot of women, and this is just from my opinion, and they're looking at things like, I think he'll make a great father.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. Which we need more of that. We need more of that, to Razi's point earlier.
What was that a few episodes ago? Be the man that she wants to cheat on with, or something like that.
Yeah, you can be that nigga. But the thing about it is, they're not all of them, but I've seen this a lot. I think women are conditioned to want providers and nurturers, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, you need that other piece of the pie, because now you don't want to have sex with that person. Now you're looking at them more of as a partner, and I've heard a lot of women even say, they got to the point where they feel more motherly than wifely, if that's a word. And so they look at their husband as almost like a second or third child.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a burden, and they're not turned on by this guy anymore because he's a child. I got to cook for him. I got to clean for him. And so, yeah, he probably needs to do some things to, he needs to do some things to make himself attractive and sexual again to her. But I think it's something that just needs to be addressed. And we can't just sit back and say, well, it's okay for you not to have sex with me because I know you're busy with the kids and all this stuff. It's like, hey, let's have a healthy sexual relationship. And I don't want to be on a calendar. I want you to just look at me sometimes like, okay, I'm about to his this nigga. Like, I want that. I need that. So, my bad. Razi, you got anything?
Nah, man. I think we hit it home, man.
Okay, who's up next? I know, Buff, you have a question for us.
Yeah, I got a question. Actually, it's one of those questions that I'm not going to have an answer for. It's strictly for you two gentlemen. So, you guys know at the Capitol we've had the National Guard, and some of them have been sent home because they were found to, I guess, empathize with people that stormed the Capitol. I think the Michigan State Capitol got stormed at one time, and some of them actually partook in that. So they were withheld from coming to DC to help out. And that leads me into what I wanted to ask you guys. So, because it led from that to, how much racism is in our police forces and how much racism is in our military. And both of you guys served. So my question is, did you experience any racism when you served in the military, no matter how overt or covert it was? And if you can, what was an example of it?
Yeah, I'll go. I haven't experienced much overt racism, and I think a lot of that comes from my position, though. You have to think, as enlisted, I was in a very, very small unit, and it was a medical unit, and most medical professionals are a little bit more liberal than, say, your infantry or your combat arms type guys. So my enlisted time was there, so I kind of was in a bubble with that. And then moving on from that, I was an officer. So your officer corps is going to be very, very different than with racism or anything like that than your enlisted corps. Let's just be honest. And most enlisted folks, while they may call me a nigga behind my back and they may say it to their friends, they not about to tell the LT or the captain or the commander, the company commander, and call him a nigga. So, you know, I was insulated from the overtness of it all. But I will tell you, covert and behind the scenes, it's a lot. It is a whole lot. I mean, when you talk about just being able to find a mentor, find an ally, 926, the engineer battalion in the brigade that I was under, I served in that brigade for close to 10 years. I was a company commander. I was a battalion executive officer. I was a battalion operations officer in S3 in the brigade, company XO, all those positions. But as a captain, I was a battalion XO, which is a big deal. If anybody kind of knows where your key roles are in your progression, that's a major slot. And I was a captain doing it. That entire 10 years, I never once got an award from that battalion or that brigade. You know, so I had some key figures that put me in those slots that were allies that were making sure that I was hitting my KD slots. Key development is what KD is. So I was hitting my key development slots. I was doing everything I needed because the people that was kind of leading me were like, "You're gonna make general." Like that. That's what they would tell me all the time. It's like you got the awareness, you've got the understanding, you've got the smarts to be able to do it. You'll make general. So they put me in those key positions. But then when you look at higher up in the chain and the people who processed awards and the people who, would approve missions, I would send in, an operations order and it'd be 5-6 pages. It's a good op order. I know because, like I said, I was a captain in an S3 slot. So I kind of know what an operations order should look like and everything. My operation order would get kicked back 6-7 times while some other officer, not going to say, what the difference was, but some other officer sends in an op order from another company and it's straight trash, but it gets accepted and doesn't get kicked back. So that's the kind of stuff that we were dealing with. And then, like I said, being an XO, I think I talked about it on another episode, just seeing how administrative actions and discipline came down differently. It really is true. It's like you'll see two soldiers doing the exact same thing, be in trouble for the exact same thing, but the black soldier, they're recommending he gets a dishonorable discharge, and they're like, oh, well, we just want to give him a letter of, of concern or something like that for the white soldier. Like I've seen that happen. And luckily, me being the XO, I was like, no. Y'all gonna normalize these at some point. I don't care which way it is. Y'all figure it out. But I'm not letting you recommend him a dishonorable and then you do a letter of concern for this exact same thing. Something needs to shake with this. So again, I've had leaders that put me in the race and let me and help me. But at the same time, I think overall I've experienced a little bit of both, but more so the covert stuff.
I definitely have on a different level. So I'll start from the beginning of my career. I think the most blatant, and which kind of opened my eyes to the military, was basic training. Starting the beginning of my career, because that's when you're at the beginning. This is before people are, taught to be soldierly and to all the military army values and stuff like that. But I remember going to basic training at the age of 17, being a young black boy from Mobile, Alabama. And I'm in basic training in South Carolina with people from all over the country. Backwoods, Appalachians, like everybody. Some people who've never experienced black people. And then I was one of the youngest people there, and I was a squad leader, so I'm in charge. So you have these people who are all older than me, white people mainly, and they're looking at me like, who is this nigga? Who is this young? Because they underestimated me for one. But who is this little young nigga? Like I had people wanting to fight. I almost got into a fight with this dude that was going infantry, and he called me a nigga. Like I didn't report it, but because what goes on in the barracks stays in the barracks. But it was very overt. Like and you saw people, you saw some of his friends have his back, but this is where I'm a transition. I've always been, and Razi can attest to this, because Razi, he probably didn't think about this, even with the 946, we were always the acceptable Negroes. We were always, if you're going to have a black friend, or if we're choosing black teams, this is who you pick. Because you can't be racist, because I love Ferg and Mac. And so, you know, even in basic training, I can see that they were like, they were cool with us. They were like, dude, that's BS. But you can tell some of these people probably had some racist tendencies, but because we were the acceptable Negro, we're not the average nigger, you know? So cut these guys some slack. So when we got to the 946, we're young, gifted, and black. And we were getting awards after awards. We got promoted really fast. And you could see some of our counterparts who were older black men who were probably more like we are now. I was like, dog, I'm not trying to play this game. You know, because Razi and I were happy-go-lucky when it came to the Army. And so they liked us because, once again, we were that acceptable Negro. And I think they were sympathetic, and it was cool to say they helped this little black boy, these young black boys, do this, and this. Because now, if you think about it, Razi, think about all the older black people in our unit. Even from our admin.
Yep.
You saw how they treated other black people. You saw how they kind of gave them the shit.
Mm-hmm.
But we were cool. In the last part, and we mentioned this in a few episodes ago, was Afghanistan, how they reacted to the locals there, and how I felt like they saw a lot of them as subordinate.
Saying niggas.
Yeah, they literally called. They didn't.
I heard a couple times them call them saying niggas. Yeah,
but camel jockeys. They made a lot of racial slurs that no telling what they were saying when we weren't around. So we're sitting there I'm looking at them, and this is after that whole episode with the special forces. And I'm like, there's more going on behind the scenes. And as we got older and I got more rank, I could tell when we went to other units and stuff like that, being once again a young black NCO. By the time Razi left, after Razi left, I was the highest ranking NCO in our unit. And I'm young. I'm 24, 25 years old, E6, about to get promoted to E7. I just gave up on the military by that time. But they were, they're looking at me like, why is this nigger in this role? You're 45 years old. You've been in the military for 20 years and you're an E5. Like I saw the hate in people's eyes from my success. Like you could tell that they were second guessing. They were pushed back a little bit. And then when you come in and you're like, I'm on my shit. Especially when we were together, we're a dynamic duo. Like you didn't stand a chance because where he lacked, I succeeded and excelled, or vice versa. So putting us together, there was nothing that couldn't get accomplished. And they knew that. But I feel like we always had to prove that to the newest person. Even when we got new people in the unit, we had doctors who, even though they're more liberal, still saw us as young black boys. We had to have that conversation at one point. We had to say, hey, I'm a grown ass man. Even though I'm only 21, 22, I'm your son's age. That has nothing to do with me. And you're probably looking at me thinking I'm less than who I am because of everything else. But it wasn't, I'm not shocked by any of this stuff. National Guard, reserves, active duty. It's definitely racism is prevalent in the military. And I'm glad they at least stepped up and did something.
I saw a report in an African American officer group that I'm in. There was a published report where they said it could be upwards of 20% of white nationalists or white nationalist supporters in the military. And I'm not, like Ferg said, I'm not surprised by that at all. I could definitely see that happening where, especially a lot of, I don't want to say you're lower enlisted, but what ends up happening is they come in for 3 to 5 years and then they get out. I can definitely see that happening.
But-
And then going and seeing, like, becoming Facebook friends with some of them. Like, I always talk about how, I kind of become, I've got a couple of kind of white nationalist leaning QAnon following friends that I continue to follow, because I just want to see the mind of what's happening with them. And those were military guys and buddies, and then I see some of the stuff they post, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're there. You might say you love everybody and everything, but you're there, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes back to that acceptable Negro. They probably don't like black people, but they liked you. And so after Obama, between Obama and Trump's election, Obama getting elected and Trump, I probably cut 95% of my military friends that I made over the years. Yeah. And it was sad because literally you say, I'll go to war with these people. I literally went to war with these people, and so you're looking at them like, man, this is my brother in arms as long as we're in this situation, but they're okay with me, but they don't see the bigger picture. And so
I think that's the hardest part of us growing and learning. It's like, it's okay that you're okay with me, but if you're not okay with my people, I still can't rock with you.
Yeah, it is.
And that's a different lens that you have to grow to learn. Because like you said, I mean, we were all cool, laughing, joking. We'll go to lunch and stuff, be at Morrison's and in the line, laughing and joking with them, sit down, we'll talk about it. And then looking back on it, I'm like, they really either were putting on for us, or they really did see us as the exceptional Negro. We were their friends, and then they put us to the side. I love talking about One Night in Miami, the scene where he's like, oh, we don't let niggas in the house. I'm so glad that you,
there are a few times I watch a movie and my mouth drops open. Like,
I saw
that's
it coming.
What happened.
I saw it coming though.
Like I
didn't know he was going to say. I didn't know he was going to say it like that. He wasn't blatant it like
I was waiting for it to come sooner. And like once they sat down and started talking, I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's not coming. And then he talked about how their families were all cool and stuff, but it still came.
No, but I feel like that's how it was. It was, now that I think about it, it was cool to be cool with Mank and Ferg, or Ferg and Mank. Like it was a rite of passage. Like, they could talk about being cool. After everything happened in Afghanistan, we were the people they were trying to get back on their good side. Mm. Like they weren't worried about other NCOs.
Yeah, that's true.
They were trying to get back in good. Like, I can't believe I offended the good black people. So.
But I will tell you that there is a place for that. There's a place for the good black people. I hate to say it like that, but there's a place for the people that I guess they respect enough, because without those folks that they respect, you're never going to get through to them at all.
But the thing about it is, why do we have to earn? I get it. I understand what you're saying. But it's like, why the do we have to earn their respect?
Oh, it's not fair.
They don't have to earn our respect. It's like, it's okay. Luckily, there's a few good white people, so we don't treat white people bad. It's like, you're a human being. Do you. You'll be, oh boy, I'm just sorry. Kansas City is dragging these boys. But you do you, and I don't have anything to prove to you. And I didn't realize, but we were part of it. I didn't realize we were okay. I remember having a conversation with Sergeant Andrews. Maybe Cotham was in there one time, and they were they kind of mentioned that, like, they're using you, or they don't like you as much as you think they do. We're like, nah, we're cool. I think we were oblivious to the fact that we were.
I think a little bit of that is we just didn't care either, though. Like, we didn't care if they liked us or not. Like, look, I come for this weekend, I do my thing, and then I'm going back to Tallahassee, I'm going back to Birmingham, and I'm going to live my life and do it up big. Like, it is no big deal to us.
Yeah, we didn't care, but I think we were still blind to a lot of the stuff, overt, or, whatever the case may be. So, good question, Buff. Can you speak on it? Do you have a...
I was going to say, it's just overall, it's just extremely frustrating dealing with racism because rarely can you actually prove it. Like listening to Razi say how he was, skipped over this or other black people may have been, they can always say, well, this white person was more qualified, or we're not just going to promote you just because you're black. Like, unless they just come out and are saying nigger, and even they get excused. I remember when Hulk Hogan was caught on tape saying nigger, I think they tried to use the I was drunk or depressed or whatever excuse. So, like, rarely is there a consensus that somebody is racist. I think David Duke is probably like the only living human being that everybody says, yeah, he's racist. Other than that, we get all kind of excuses and things because it's so hard to like actually prove. We have to provide so much evidence before we can even get our case heard. And so it's just
and then the goalposts always move, right?
Yes.
When you provide it.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really matter.
Right.
They're always going to say, no, they're not racist. Oh, no, the 94 crime bill wasn't racist. Well, yes, on paper, it's not racist, but it's racist. Like the implementation of the 94 crime bill was racist. And that's what happens with a lot of laws. PPP with the I can't remember, payroll protection program that came out with, the stimulus packages and stuff. That wasn't racist. But then when you look at who all got the PPP loans and how many African Americans were passed over and denied for it, it became racist. Like that's what folks don't understand is racism is so systemic that no matter what you do from a individual, I'm writing this, unless you specifically say you have to give 12% of this or whatever the population is of black people in America, you have to give that percentage in PPP loans to them. Unless you write that in the bill, which they won't, then it's probably going to be implemented in a racist manner because of the system is so ingrained and it's so racist.
We live in a society, and I've brought this crime up before to make a different example, but we live in a society right now where you and Ferg can go rob the bank, and all I got to do is just be sitting in the car. I don't have a weapon. I may not even know y'all are even robbing the bank, but they going to charge me just like they charge you too. You see all these white people that stormed the Capitol. And make no mistake about it, it was treason. Like, yeah, there probably was some people that just went in there just to look around, but there were people there that literally wanted to stop the electoral process and pretty much kidnap our government. It was treasonous. And you seeing them get sent home. Like they're going to court, getting charged, and going home. There's a woman who had Pelosi's laptop, was going to sell it to Russia. She's home. That is treason. And correct me if I'm wrong, but treason, what's the penalty for treason?
Death.
Exactly. So, like, it amazes
presumption
me.
of innocence.
Yes.
So
presumption of innocence. Exactly.
And I'm gonna leave it like this. So when you look at the military, one of the main reasons you don't see as much racist reports is for fear of retaliation, because we're still the minority in the military. We're still the minority in power. So you're looking at your peers and your leaders that can definitely make your life a living hell. Like racism on your job, you can just say, you know what? I don't need this job. I'll go find another one. But it doesn't work like that in the Army. It doesn't work like that in the Navy. You get extra duty. They can find ways to make your life a living hell. So racism probably is at its worst in the military because by law, you have to just deal with it. Like there's nothing I'm not saying there's nothing you can do. You have to have a great chain of command for stuff to really, really work. And even then there's potential retaliation because we're just going to transfer it into another unit. And so when they transfer you to another unit, they give them the heads up like, hey, this is a dude to call whoop, make his life a living hell. So Byron can't make my life a living hell because if he did it, it'll be a blatant. But when I moved to Razi's unit and I realized, why am I having guard duty every night and working on the weekends and I can't get any of my leave approved? It's a good old boy system. And I'm not saying all the military is bad. I mean, but there's a lot of it in there. And just like the regular society, people usually hang with people that remind them of themselves. And a lot of the black people who get along in the military are like, they adopt or adapt a lot of the beliefs of the military. And that's why people like them, because they're definitely, we were cool. We were the acceptable Negro, but we were never the sellout. Mm-hmm. We're not about to down other black people or anything like that, which I've seen. I've seen other black people to fit in the military become the boy.
Yeah, they become Sarge from A Soldier Story.
Yeah, so
another great movie, by the way.
I love that movie, man. So good.
What do you have for us, Razi?
I don't know, dude. We've gone long, actually. So I really didn't have a question anyway, so I think I'm just gonna defer to you guys, and we can just close it out tonight. But I do. It'll probably be a real quick one. I wanted to talk about the vaccine, and are you guys gonna take it? And if so, do you have a plan on like getting back to normal after you take it? Or are you just gonna take it and be like, yep, going on a trip? Or, like what's the plan after that?
2 months ago it was a hard no. 1 month ago it was like, I'll see. Today it's like, man, I don't know, I might get it. Like, we talked about it in our group, man. We had I think she graduated maybe a year after us or a year before us. I believe she just passed away from it. It's getting more and more scary. Like, when it starts hitting more and more people that you know or knew of that were your age or younger, it starts hitting a little different. At least for me, it starts hitting a little different. So that hard no, and it was never because I'm just anti-vax. It's just that, I just really wanted to make sure they got it right. I wanted to see how it affected people and everything like that. Because while I don't want COVID, I also don't want to put something in my body that can cause problems down the line. But
you don't want to get mesothelioma.
but COVID is getting more and more scary, man. So the scarier it gets, the more I'm leaning towards getting in. Plus, I mean, shoot, I can say this is in the news. At my job, especially after January 6th, because so many racist white people stormed my place of business with no mask on, we've lost a lot of coworkers that had to go out of work because they came down with it. Some Congress people have gotten it. So as more and more people around me that I'm working with get it, I definitely have to give it a serious thought. And I can't be on that hard stance of, no, I'm not getting it. I have to really weigh my, like I was afraid of the vaccine, but now I'm also afraid of COVID. So I got to weigh both and make that decision. But it's no longer a hard no.
I'm kind of like Byron. My thoughts have changed over the time. I'm leaning more towards it now, but because there's people in the medical field that I trust and know personally who have gotten the shots and recommend getting them. Luckily, I don't think I have to make that decision anytime soon. So I want to see more. And even after getting the vaccine, I'll feel a little safer, pending side effects. But I'm still not going to return to life as usual. I don't think that's the play. It's not 99.999% effective against COVID. It's just, hey, this may help you not get it. And if you get it, it might not be as severe until it is. Because and that's what I call a practice of medicine. There's no absolutes. And I don't want to be that one case where it just went wrong. So if I can avoid it as much as possible, like, I will be more willing to do certain things. Razi and I have talked about vacations, getting the kids and stuff together over the last few months. but still don't feel quite safe doing that. But it's like, okay, now we might be able to go to insert place here and do vacation in a isolated area. But I don't feel comfortable doing anything even after the vaccine until I see more research.
Yeah, I thought about that question because you guys know that like Hank Aaron, rest in peace to Hank Aaron as well. To the listeners, I don't know if they know Mobile native, but Hank Aaron passed away. And he had just gotten a COVID vaccine, and people were like, "Oh, how do you get COVID?" And if he had just gotten the vaccine, first of all, guys, that's not how vaccines work. That you don't get it and then you're immune like the next day. And it's a 2-shot cycle on there. So if you haven't completed both shots, then you're not completely immune. It takes 2 to 3 weeks after the first shot, and they say at least a week or two after the second shot to really be completely supposedly vaccinated. And then on top of that, that doesn't mean that you can't transmit the vaccine or the virus. So it can still live in your nostrils and it can still be transmitted even though you may not get it yourself. So you still may be contagious to other people and be able to move the virus between folks. So I'm definitely getting it as soon as I'm available to get it. It's one of those things like Byron, you were saying, I'm scared of the virus. I'm scared of the vaccine and the side effects that may come from it. But my thing is my chances are way better at surviving. Even if I do get mesothelioma, with the vaccine. So I'm definitely getting it as soon as it's available. And no, I'm not just going back out and back in the public, and not necessarily for me, because even after, I'm fully vaccinated and yes, it's in my system and I can't really get it, or my chances are very, very low. I'm not going back to normal life for other people, the people that aren't vaccinated. So until we hit that true herd immunity of everybody, 80-90% of us are vaccinated or have had it in the past, and show that they still have the antibodies, then I'm still going to wear a mask. I'm still going to continue like we're doing today until I feel comfortable that Birmingham in general is vaccinated, and then I can start moving in Birmingham. But then I'm still not traveling because folks are like, oh, once I get vaccinated, I'm going to, France. I'm like, well, everybody in France might not be, vaccinated. And so you shouldn't be leaving. You shouldn't be going to Tampa, and traveling and just hanging out. It should be still controlled until it's really time and we know that everybody is safe. Guys, it's social responsibility. It's on all of us to protect all of us. So, stop being selfish is really what the only thing I can say. Just because you got it and survived it doesn't mean you cannot wear a mask. Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz. Ooh. So just throw that out there. Because I've seen Rubio act like a douche and doesn't want to wear a mask because he's had it and he thinks he's good. You gotta, it's social responsibility. Just look left, look right, and you gotta protect everybody, not just yourself. So that's all I got, man. Get off my soapbox. And I'll just take that as my parting shots too, man.
And just so people know, according to Moderna's study, BBC study, like even Moderna's vaccine is only 80.2% effective. Mm. So
the Pfizer one is what, 95?
I think so. Let's look that up real quick so we can provide that information for him.
Well, while he's looking that up, I'll get my part and shout out the way because I know we're running low on time. But just want to give a shout out to my cousin Kristen Flowers. Thanks for the Hello Fresh Christmas gift. We have been using it. Definitely, if you're like us, you've been in the house for the most part since last March. Probably sick of cooking, running out of ideas on what to cook. Hello Fresh is it's a cool thing to cook different things, but I just want to make sure people know it's not something that comes to your house that's already prepared. You still got to cook, prep, cut, and all that stuff. It doesn't cut out the time of cooking. You still got to cook it, but it gives you different meals. I know Tabitha sent it to you, Ferg. Hope y'all enjoyed it. If not, I don't care. I'm not a commercial for HelloFresh, but I just thought it's pretty dope.
But HelloFresh, we can be.
Yes.
Just let us
know. Yes.
Did you? No, I actually enjoyed it. So when you called, I was finishing up dinner. So I have a HelloFresh meal that I cooked, and I really enjoyed it. So my question to you is, are you guys still on a trial, or you paying for it now?
We're paying for. We went from 4 meals to 3 meals now because she said, one, a lot of the meals are very carb heavy. So she wanted to cut back on that. And it was a little pricey doing the 4 per week. So we cut it down to 3 per week.
Yeah. So, we do 2 per week because we know we're going to just chill out on the weekend for the most part. Mm-hmm. And we have young kids that really don't eat all, they'll eat chicken nuggets and French fries every day if you let them. So having these fancy HelloFresh meals, because my question was, I keep getting these emails for promotions, and I'm like, do I still qualify for these promotions? Can I cancel and then sign up for these promotions? Yeah. So actually I might try that today. I'll let you know.
And one other cool thing is you don't have to keep going. Like if there's a week, like say Thanksgiving is coming up and you're not going to need it, you can not pay that week. So they're very flexible with their payment plan.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I really don't have much.
Ferg, right before, speaking of, subscription services, just want to throw out there that, my Savage Fenty lingerie, boxers are going to be coming. So I got my VIP to
the thoughtness continues.
Yes, Thotin 100%. So I'll do an unboxing for everybody when they come, just so y'all can. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll throw that up on the website.
Yeah, let me know so I'll know not to log into the page that day.
Are we gonna make a male thought T-shirt for you, Razi?
No, I didn't say I'm gonna show it with me on. An unboxing is where you open the box and show them off. No, I'm just saying, are we gonna make a male? They have whole videos about that stuff.
So that's a no to the male thought T-shirt.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Okay, just asking.
I'd have to check with Sharice. She might want me to do it.
Yeah. Was that Big Mama? What was her name?
Yeah. I think it was Big Mama.
Well, I want to thank you guys for all your prayers and support over the last week. For many of you guys don't know, my stepdad who raised me had a stroke last Friday. Not this past Friday, the Friday before, and is still in the hospital. He's doing well, recovering, is in rehab now in the Rotary Clinic. So my family and I have been through a lot this last week, and I just thank everybody for their prayers. And, I don't tell a lot of people our business, but now that he's doing a lot better, good. I'm feeling more comfortable. And it's just, once again, I tell everybody, if you have older family members, please check on their health. Make sure they have life insurance, health insurance, that they're taking their medication, that you have the power of attorney. Who their first responders or their medical history, all their medication, who has their living will, who has all that information, because you will see that if God willing, you guys don't have to experience any of that, but you'll see that there goes a lot when you're dealing with family and other people and you don't have all the information. It can be challenging. So the more information you have, the more prepared you are, the better things will be in the long run. So, and with that being said, what are you about to say, Buff?
I was going to say one last thing, man. For the listeners, these two brothers have definitely worked with me on my schedule. I literally have no off days. I finally got one. We're recording on Sunday. I got one on Saturday. And it takes a lot for our 3 schedules to line up when I'm working a normal shift. But, since January 6th, I've been working every single day. On top of that, we got the impeachment trial coming up in a couple of weeks. So for the listeners, man, for all of them, I just want to say to you two, thank you for working with me on this schedule. I know it's not easy. So we definitely, it's important to us to put this show out to you guys every week. And they are really making that happen as I literally work every day, 12 hours a day. So I just appreciate you two guys, man.
I appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing and stay safe, bro. Cool. Well, with that being said, it's 3 Brothers No Sense. I'm Tavares Ferguson. Please continue to listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.